my gun to her head, and I'm gonna blow her head off. Then you're gonna have to come up and kill me.
This was a domestic situation that was going bad, extremely bad.
Please.
It's a hostage situation. He's about to kill her.
This doesn't have to go down this way.
We were about to storm the room and take our chances.
Charlie, you can't kill her in front of her son.
Shut up!
My mind is going 1,000,000 miles an hour. How do I stop him from doing this?
Adrenaline-fueled manhunts, tactical takedowns, high-stakes games of cat and mouse. Across America, elite teams of FBI agents are on a mission to hunt down the most wanted criminals in the country. Every day, they put their lives at risk to save yours. This is law enforcement to the extreme. This is FBI Takedowns.
Why'd you leave me? I'm gonna kill you! Go pack some stuff!
Are you okay?
Leave him alone! Hurry up! Come on!
Where's your emergency?
That Sunday when I came into work, there was a complaint involving the possible disappearance of Cheryl Hart that was reported by her family.
For 2 days, no one has seen 26-year-old Cheryl Hart and her 4-year-old son, Charlie. A fact that scares her family for one clear reason: Cheryl's ex-boyfriend, Charles Leaf.
Charlie had just been released from prison. He was well known for his violent behavior and a history of domestic violence.
When Cheryl once tried to leave him, she said he raped and threatened to kill her. Now he's fresh out of prison for kidnapping their son, little Charlie.
He had taken the child from Cheryl and disappeared for a period of time.
Though Cheryl has a restraining order, her family doubts a piece of paper will stop Charlie from getting what he wants.
There was mail and newspapers that had collected in the mailbox and in front of the house. Something was not quite right there.
Got an open door.
We did find a door that was unlocked and open.
Police!
We found one bedroom door that had been forced open with pieces of the broken door and the lock scattered along the floor. It appeared that it had been kicked open. As I lifted the mattress to find anything concealed, I found a very large kitchen knife directly under the mattress where she would have been sleeping. That indicated, first, that Cheryl was in fear enough for her safety to have to keep such a knife underneath her mattress. Second, she did not have the opportunity to get it out. We found little Charlie's room, but he was missing as well.
All signs point to a kidnapping. And if her ex did it, Cheryl and her son are in serious danger. A search for Leaf comes up empty, so police haul in the next best thing, his new girlfriend.
She was not forthcoming and had very little information to provide.
But when detectives run her car tags, something clicks.
I realized I had seen that car just recently. It was a very distinctive car, a Chevy Nova from the early 70s.
The day before Cheryl's abduction, Burns was working security at a hotel parking lot when the car pulled in.
What caught our attention was the way the car drove through the parking lot, up and down the parking aisles, but never chose a parking place. I suspected that the occupants were up to something.
It turns out Cheryl Hart works at this hotel. Detectives think Charlie must have been scoping the place to get his hands on her that night.
They brought the new girlfriend back in and confronted her with this information.
You tell me a little bit about that?
This prompted her to disclose that she knew Charlie had planned to kidnap Cheryl and Charlie Jr. Charlie was going to head south to property that he was familiar with from his childhood.
It's the information they need to confirm Leaf is behind this. But if he's fled the state, Trumbull PD needs help. So they place a call to the one agency that has what it takes to hunt down the fugitive: the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
At that point, we had a federal kidnapping warrant. That turned it into an FBI investigation.
Federal authorities have launched a nationwide search.
The FBI alerts law enforcement throughout the Southeast.
Who allegedly kidnapped his girlfriend and their 4-year-old son and fled the state of Connecticut. Charles A. Leaf Jr. has been charged with unlawful flight to avoid prosecution.
We knew the background about his having assaulted Cheryl in Connecticut on multiple occasions.
But even for the violent Leaf, this kidnapping amps up his rage to a new level.
We had a woman who had been very badly abused previously and a child out there that were being held possibly at gunpoint, so we had to do everything we could to try and locate them.
Trouble is, Leaf and his two captives could be anywhere. More than 300 miles south of Trumbull, Connecticut, and Rappahannock County, Virginia, a deputy obtains a warrant to search an abandoned car.
It's on a maroon Chevy Nova.
When he does, he learns it's the car the FBI is looking for.
There was nothing in the vehicle that looked like someone had been shot. There was no blood or anything like that. So we were looking for the three of them at that point.
The FBI deploys its SWAT teams from the Washington and Richmond offices. Commanding in the field is Assistant Special Agent in Charge, Virgil Young.
When they searched the car, they found probably the key piece of evidence of receipt showing that Charlie had purchased a carbine and 200 rounds of ammunition.
I found a receipt here for a firearm.
So we assumed that he was armed.
And extremely dangerous. The FBI's Richmond SWAT unit, led by Wayne Waddell, prepares for a firefight.
I had ballistic protective gear. I always have handguns and shoulder weapons to carry. I had camouflage clothing. Anytime you get a high-profile investigation, there is certainly a little bit of adrenaline rush.
This is something serious. It's a kidnapping. People's lives may be in danger. It's something we are anxious to get out and do.
Agents believe that without his vehicle, Leaf and his hostages can't have gone far.
Let's do it.
He's got a woman and a child with him, so we assumed that he wasn't going to be making any 50-mile marches. We didn't think that he had a ton of camping equipment. So let's go out and look at the farms and the summer homes in the area to see if there's any indication that they are there.
Rappahannock County spans 265 square miles east of the Blue Ridge Mountains. The FBI dispatches helicopters and alerts the press, asking the public for help. But the real burden falls on the agents on the ground.
The area that we had to search was huge. Initially, our search was on the buildings in the area, and that's how we set up the sectors for the searches.
There are a lot of summer homes and weekend homes that were unoccupied. We would look for any sign of someone having broken in. A door kicked in, or Jimmy marks, or windows broken. We saw nothing.
After hours of house-to-house searching, the agents finally get a tip.
Somebody in one of the cabins said they saw someone out in the woods.
We divided up the area to be searched, and we did it on a search line. It was very cold, very rainy for most of the week. Really a pretty miserable time to be up there.
What's worse, the fugitive has an advantage.
Leaf was somewhat of an outdoorsman. He was comfortable in the woods. He could live off the land and so on. And this made our job harder because he didn't have to be close to civilization.
They hope he'll surface eventually for food and supplies. But when?
After a couple of days of searching and researching some areas, everybody was pretty disheartened.
Many of the search teams are sent home. Special Agent Waddell's unit, including Terry Neist, remains to track Leaf down.
Our job was just to start from scratch and try to find him.
The biggest challenge is to be alert and having that SWAT team stay focused.
An FBI agent's mission is to save lives, a mission jeopardized as precious seconds tick by. Somewhere out in the cold Virginia woods, a violent madman holds captive a terrified woman and her little boy. Without a break soon, their time will run out.
FBI and local law enforcement authorities are searching for Charles Anthony Leaf, who is accused of abducting his common-law wife, Cheryl Hart, and 4-year-old son, Charlie Leaf III. Leaf is described as a white male, 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighing 160 pounds.
His name is Charles Leaf. The man is armed and dangerous.
7 days have passed since Charles Leaf kidnapped Cheryl and their son, Charlie. The FBI's Richmond SWAT team pushes deeper into Virginia's Blue Ridge foothills to chase the fugitive and his captives.
The FBI is asking anyone who's seen these individuals in Sperryville, Rappahannock County, or elsewhere to immediately call the FBI in Richmond.
We had a mission to try to save Cheryl and her child, and we had a mission to try to apprehend Charles Leaf. This is real life. It is not going to end in a hurry. I just know that we had to keep at it.
Five days after police found Leaf's getaway car, agents check on a reported burglary in a nearby store.
There was milk and orange juice and lunch meats taken.
Marlboro cigarettes, which we knew at that time were Charlie's cigarettes, and other items that you might use camping anyway. So when the storekeeper said, gee, I've had a break-in here, so happens we're looking for someone here in the area there that needs the things that were stolen.
We said, he's there. I mean, we know he's there as of 5 hours ago at most. That's when it was, this is serious. We need more manpower down here.
As the Richmond agents turn out in force, extra reinforcements are brought in from Washington, D.C. to join the manhunt. At one of the rural vacation homes, Washington SWAT team agents make a sharp-eyed discovery.
They found something in the barn that appeared to have come from the store burglary a couple of nights before. Then they started seeing what else might be out of place there.
One of the Washington SWAT members looked at the electric meter on this house, and he noticed it was moving. No lights, but electricity being used. Probably somebody in there.
I think we got him.
So, okay, we got to get in there.
Everybody's energy level was sky high.
With full clearance to enter the house, Richmond SWAT leader Wayne Waddell directs the assault.
When we got to the site, we decided we needed to enter the structure. Again, the Washington field office was to take the bottom floor. The Richmond SWAT team was to do the top floor.
When things like this happen, the adrenaline kicks in and you're not as tired. You're just kind of anxious to do your job and do what you're trained to do and hope it comes out successfully with no one getting hurt.
We were all carrying shoulder weapons. We all, of course, had handguns. I was carrying an MP5.
FBI! FBI!
We did what we call a dynamic entry. In other words, we went at it in a hurry. Get in, get it done.
FBI! FBI! FBI!
Two guys had their weapons pointing up to the second floor, providing cover for Wayne.
As I looked up the staircase, I saw a landing at the top, I saw a door to the left, and a landing to my right. As I ran up the steps, I'm looking to my left to see if anything comes out of that room. And as I started turning to the right, I saw the gun barrel.
It's Charles Leaf.
He had a good headshot on me. He had a good angle. And the way I was carrying my MP5, there was no way I could swing past the banister to get toward him.
Get down.
That's when I yelled, "Get down," and we started backpedaling down the steps.
What are you doing here? Get out!
It would have been unsafe for Wayne, say, to continue advancing on him where Wayne could not shoot. The room for error isn't there. He had to give it.
You never turn your back on your enemy. Never. You always face your enemy.
What are you guys doing in here? My house! Get out! Who are you?
We lost nothing. We know where they are. We're way ahead of the game.
Get out of my house!
And now we can think about an emergency response plan.
Outside, Assistant Special Agent in Charge, Virgil Young, knows they've got trouble.
When I hear the yelling starting, that's when I went into the house.
We got a man up there, armed.
No longer is this a manhunt, it's now a hostage situation.
That's when I had to change from being a SWAT team leader to being a hostage negotiator. I got into a barricaded position and I began talking to him.
Who are you?
He wanted to know who we were, what we were doing there. And I told him we were the FBI, and I asked if he was Charles Leaf. He didn't answer. And I asked him if Cheryl and his son were there.
They're safe.
And he said that they're okay.
That's good.
As the SWAT leader, Waddell is trained for hostage negotiation. It demands the tactical use of words, not weapons, to defuse the explosive situation. With lives on the line, every word counts.
You did a great job hiding from us, Charlie.
To save Cheryl and little Charlie, he needs to calm Leaf and slowly win his trust.
Leave me alone! Get out!
He was screaming and yelling and cursing, telling us to get out, leave him alone, leave him alone.
Get the hell out of here! All of you!
And I had to settle him down.
Leave me alone! I don't want to be bothered! Get out of here!
I didn't want to use the word abducted, kidnapped, forced against their will.
We're here to help you.
That's what negotiators do. They stall for time. The idea is to get that person's emotions down so their rationality, their reason can rise.
We're just here to help you get out of the house.
I'm trying to build up some type of personal resolve in the guy for the guy can feel good about himself. I told him that he'd done a good job hiding from us. I asked him where he had learned his skills.
It's like a seesaw. One goes up, the other goes down. So that hopefully, as time goes on, the guy sees there's no way out of this other than surrender. And that's what you're looking for.
Come on, Charlie, we can work this out.
I was surprised at how quickly Charlie calmed down.
I did a good job keeping from you, didn't I?
He was not irrational. He was not saying really outrageous things.
Still, Agent Waddell can't let his guard down.
I kept thinking that he might come around the staircase and start shooting. I had my weapon up, and at least 2 or 3 other team members had their weapons trained on the upper staircase too.
Waddell has control of the situation, but he's going to need relief.
I know that I've got to get reinforcements in there. We're going to need hostage negotiators from the Special Operations Unit, and we're going to need more SWAT personnel. We want the best that the FBI has to really handle the hostage situation.
As night falls, Waddell's team tries to adjust to the darkness without overstepping its bounds.
We needed to be able to see upstairs, so we turned the lights on the stairwell. I didn't ask for his permission. And I think that probably aggravated him. He started yelling and cursing.
Keep the damn lights off!
There was no negotiation. The light was going out.
It showed me it wasn't a toy weapon. He had ammo that was functioning.
Though he may be backed into a corner, Leaf is not about to surrender, nor release his hostages.
At one point, Cheryl called down and said,
What date is it today?
Why?
Why did you want to know that? And she said, I just wanted to know what date would be on my tombstone.
That changed the dynamics immensely. Everything was geared back up again. I didn't expect that we were going to get Cheryl Hart out of there alive.
A few hours into the hostage standoff,
Keep the damn lights off!
kidnapper Charles Leaf is showing no intention of releasing his ex-girlfriend Cheryl Hart
Get out!
or their little boy. And though the FBI has reinforcements on the way, everyone fears they'll come too late.
In the early morning hours, I get a call from the FBI headquarters switchboard operator saying I should drive to Sperryville, Virginia to assist in an ongoing situation involving a man holding a woman and child hostage. My FBI car was in the office, so I had to take the family station wagon out there, and essentially I had little with me beyond what I was wearing, other than my revolver.
Hey, Wayne. Well, thank God you're here.
A mentally exhausted Wayne Waddell is happy to see his mentor.
Wayne, I think, was anxious for me to take over the role as the primary negotiator.
I've known Gary Nesner for several years. In fact, Gary was my instructor in the hostage negotiation course.
Wayne threw me a bulletproof vest because I certainly didn't have mine with me.
They're gonna need that. Thanks.
I mean, it was good for us to know that Gary was there. He'd been very successful in a lot of hostage negotiations.
For 10 grueling hours, Agent Waddell kept Charles Leaf in check.
Hey, Charlie. My name's Gary. I'm with the FBI.
Now Nesner will call on every bit of his 8+ years experience as a hostage negotiator to free Cheryl and her son.
There were 3 or 4 tactical agents from the SWAT team standing there. We used to have a very interesting law enforcement sort of butt our heads and make fun of each other. You're the knuckle draggers, and they would call the negotiator the interior decorator. But most importantly, they were keeping me safe. My little 5-shot revolver really wasn't going to give me much protection.
Charlie, we're here to help you.
But I wanted to start off gently, downplaying what had happened, the kidnapping and the abduction and so forth. No one had been hurt yet.
We want to work things out, okay? Is there anything we can do or get for you?
There had been a request by Leaf earlier for the clothing, which was in the dryer in the basement, and it was denied at that time.
Yeah, you can get our clothes, man.
Leaf had broken into the house to give Cheryl and little Charlie a chance to get warm and wash up.
Terry, grab me those clothes, that laundry bag over there.
Agent Nesner breaks a cardinal rule of hostage negotiation.
The prevailing thought was you don't give someone something unless you get something back. And that's a good principle in a bargaining interaction. However, this was not bargaining. Charlie wasn't there to trade clothes for a hostage. This was an emotional situation, and it was important we demonstrate that we were there to help him and try to resolve this peacefully. I tossed the clothes upstairs, and that's the first time I saw Cheryl. She looked extremely stressed, a bit disheveled, very frightened.
It's a small gesture, but it takes baby steps to get the big results. The key is to get Charlie talking.
Charlie, I want to help you, okay?
As Nesner works on Leaf, the FBI's hostage rescue team arrives. The elite counterterrorism unit trains for operations that demand surgical precision and lethal force. Like this one shaping up to be.
We needed to find a route that we could go without discovery. And we were not completely under cover of darkness, so we had to sprint around a circuitous route in order to avoid discovery and gain access to the house.
It's a big deal when the HRT comes in. They have snipers who shoot all the time. They've got training from all over the world.
Amongst the HRT guys that came into the house was Jay Mulholland, who I had worked with in the Washington field office and knew him very well.
HRT's here now.
We had enough agents to cover the perimeter with our sniper teams and to relieve the Richmond SWAT team inside the house.
HRT is trained to play nice with negotiators, but if things go south, Mulholland's team has the authority to override Nesner and seize the hostages by lethal force.
We could respond in an emergency fashion if need be, but we always take the lead of the negotiators and let them start things off.
So far, Nesner hasn't had much success.
Hey, Charlie, you like the woods?
But after nearly an hour, he finally connects with Charlie.
Yeah, I love the woods.
I had a 4-year-old son who was little Charlie's exact age, and we did compare notes on the antics of a 4-year-old that took us away from the drama at the scene.
Don't you want to teach little Charlie how to survive out there?
Yeah, I always hope to take Charlie out camping and go doing some hunting.
At the early stages of the negotiation, I was very hopeful. In fact, I remember commenting to someone about that.
That would be great.
And later discovering how wrong I was.
As it started to get light, Charlie started asking for food.
Should we try to grab Cheryl when she comes for the food? Believing, rightfully so, that she was the one most at risk. No guarantee he wouldn't hurt his son, but that wasn't our number one fear. His anger and animosity was directed towards her. There was a discussion. We were fearful that if we tried to grab her and failed, everything we had built would be for naught. She would have fought tooth and nail to get back to her son. So the best thing we could do was to hold the sign out that I wrote.
I'm gonna put it right here on the stairs.
She glanced at me briefly, didn't nod, didn't respond. She was still petrified, absolutely frightened to death.
Hey, Charlie.
I felt now it was the time to press him to put his weapon down, come down with his family. So I broached the subject.
We let you sleep.
We sent you the clothes. We brought you some food.
So how about you bring your family down now?
Charlie's response was,
I'm gonna tell you how this is gonna go down. I'm gonna blow her head off.
and then you're gonna have to come up here and kill me.
Charlie came to a decision that he thought it was time to end everything.
She's on her knees. I have my gun to her head. I'm gonna blow her head off.
Now that really got my heart racing.
Shut up.
We had gone from very calm to all of a sudden, he's about to kill her.
As Leaf spins out of control, HRT is primed to take over.
We were prepared to go up the steps if need be and just to resolve the issue as best we could.
She'll kill you right now.
I had this bleak visual. And our guys going up, getting in a terrible shootout, harming the child mistakenly.
We thought we were going up. It was coming close.
My mind is going 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Blow your head off.
How do I stop him from doing this?
Shut up! You don't have to come up and kill me.
Just don't.
Charles Leaf has snapped.
You're a bad mother.
With their son in the room, his gun is pointed at his ex-girlfriend Cheryl Hart's head, making it clear to the FBI agents on scene. He's ready to use it.
Blow your head off right now.
He turned his verbal attacks on Cheryl, how she had treated him, what kind of person she was.
Never treated me right.
He was becoming angrier and angrier. It was like the switch had been on zero and all of a sudden it's on full speed.
Shut up!
When he said, "I'm gonna kill her," I expected a shot to ring out.
Leaf was determined to do something. We felt like just one report from a weapon and we had to go.
I was really churning my brain cells to try to come up with a way to counter this.
It doesn't have to go down this way.
This is not this serious. We can work this out. You don't want to hurt her in front of your son. This will traumatize him. On and on and on. Now, hostage rescue team guys who were surrounding the stairway literally began to move me out of the way because they had come to the conclusion that shots were going to be fired and they were going to have to go up the stairs to try to save the little boy.
We were about to conduct an emergency assault up the rickety stairway. It was one of the most nervous times of my career, and we're just waiting for the shot to go off.
Clearly, we were all waiting for the shot. Finally, I played what I guess is my final card.
Is there anything we can do or say to stop you from doing this?
Can you get us out of here?
I want to use that chopper.
This was an epiphany. I had no idea you wanted to leave the house. Let me talk to my boss about that. Let me try to work on that.
Can you promise me you won't hurt Cheryl? Can you give me that promise?
He didn't give me that promise, but he said, hurry up.
How's it going in there?
Negotiators are not trained to find tactical solutions. But Nesner is out of time.
When Gary said, we might be able to do that, Charlie, I said, you said what?
I didn't even know there was a helicopter in the field.
An FBI helicopter had delivered agents the day before. Gary believes it's their only way out.
No way.
Absolutely not. You don't turn someone loose, particularly in a helicopter with one of our pilots in it.
Look, I know it sounds crazy.
I told him, Virgil, he will kill Cheryl, and I don't think I can stop it.
Okay, I understand, so let's figure this out. How do we use this?
I recommend that we prepare an open-air assault.
An open-air assault means one thing: lure Leaf out to the chopper where HRT snipers can take him down.
So then we start working on a plan.
First, we had to agree on how we might execute this plan, both from the assault and sniper level.
Once we came up with the plan, we had to make sure that there were snipers in place that would be able to cover them as soon as they came out of the house.
4 sniper teams need to find positions within 100 yards of the house. The biggest challenge for the mission's lead sniper is moving everyone in without Leaf noticing.
Moving into position during daylight can be a little more difficult than when you have the benefit of night to conceal your movement.
I'm confident that one of them will be able to get a shot before they get to the helicopter.
As the snipers move into place, Nesner distracts Leaf with the good news.
We got the chopper for you, man.
I said, Charlie, have you ever been in a helicopter before?
It's a beautiful sight. You get to see the Blue Ridge Mountains.
The purpose being to get him thinking and visualizing that this was really going to happen. One of the things that Charlie wanted before we proceeded was to get the personal effects that he and Cheryl and little Charlie had from a lean-to they had built in the mountains, not far away.
Here we go, guys.
Finding these items was heartbreaking. That is a sad, heartbreaking scene for a child to have to reside in. The hide was actually no bigger than a pup tent.
Here's a guy, he's threatening to kill these people, but he wants his son's toys and Easter Bunny. It was kind of eerie.
The agents have done what Charlie asked for.
I said, you can look out the window, you can see the items being brought.
Helicopter pilot Tom Kelly has instructions to load them and start the engine.
Once the helicopter was running is at the point in which Charlie and Cheryl and the little boy were going to come from the house down to get in the helicopter, and then we would leave.
Though confident the snipers will shoot Leaf before he reaches the chopper, Agent Kelly is packing an insurance policy, a revolver concealed in his boot.
If all else fails, then at least I have something that I can work with to help mitigate my own situation should it arise.
With the snipers in place, it's go time.
I said, okay, Charlie, now we're ready to leave the house. And good luck.
Clear now.
When I saw Gary walk out of the crisis site, he had his ballistic vest in his hands. I looked at his face and I realized negotiations are over.
We'd done everything that we could at that point to take care of every contingency we could. It was going to happen, and there wasn't anything that we can do to change it at that point. All we could do is watch.
Primed with a .308 caliber rifle and a high-powered scope, each sniper covers a narrow field of fire between the house and the helicopter.
The sniper teams had to be very aware of where everyone else on the tactical team was located. Since the three of these individuals were moving from one location to another, it's absolutely critical to be aware of where others are located so you don't end up in a crossfire situation. It requires muscle control, breath control, and very committed focus. And a clear mind cannot be thinking about anything other than the task at hand.
Most importantly, the sniper's lethal shot must kill instantly, terminating all motor control.
If they're holding a weapon on a hostage, that involves taking a shot that would be so detrimental to the brain that there would be limited opportunity for a reflex action.
Meaning a headshot. Each sniper has a green light to take a shot, if he has it. After 9 days on the run and a 20-hour standoff with the FBI, Leaf steps out of the house and stays one step ahead of the snipers. Leaf's using Cheryl and little Charlie as shields against their gun sights.
Started hearing the first sniper that they went through his sector.
No shot.
I don't have a shot.
No shot, no shot.
They kept going.
Yeah, no shot. No shot.
I don't have a shot. I don't have a shot. I don't have a shot.
I've got no shot. I've got no shot. No shot, no shot.
After a 20-hour standoff with the FBI, Charles Leaf plays his last card. By shielding himself with Cheryl and little Charlie, he spoils any opening a sniper might have to take him down before he reaches the helicopter.
Charlie Jr. was on his dad's shoulders. Cheryl was walking in front of them. He had a sawed-off rifle in one hand.
Charlie was tied around his back, and his head was very close to Leaf's. I was not willing to take a shot at that time.
No shot. No shot. I've got no shot.
I was hearing various snipers report in. I have no shot. I have no shot.
No shot.
I'm a little bit nervous at that point.
If they get to the helicopter, it's game over. Their fugitive will escape with 2 hostages and possibly gain another, the pilot, Tom Kelly.
I pretty much knew at that point that they were probably going to make it to the helicopter. The closer they get, the more attention I pay to what Charlie is doing with the rifle.
The FBI has a contingency plan for just this situation.
I'm looking directly at Cheryl. As soon as she is just under the tips of the rotor system, I just keyed the radio and said, "I'm gone," and went straight up in the air vertically.
The next thing I heard was a loud boom. That was the sound of a flashbang.
The diversion throws them off balance.
Charlie went down on one knee.
He crouched, and his wife was in front of him. I saw daylight between Leaf's head and his son's head. I took the shot. Charles went down.
All 3 of them went down. I wasn't sure if Charlie had been shot or one of the others. I didn't know. My heart kind of stopped beating, and I held my breath.
The next focus I had was little Charlie through my scope to see if he was okay.
The thing that went through my mind was, he's down.
My initial thought was, oh my God, we've killed the little boy.
I see Leaf on his back with little Charlie under him and 4 legs and none of them moving. It was kind of a sickening feeling. Did something go wrong? And then little Charlie squirms out from underneath. That was one of the greatest joys, to see little Charlie get up.
I saw Terry Neese scoop up the boy. And Cheryl was running away from the scene, and I ran as hard as I could towards her. I didn't know if she was armed. I grabbed her, handcuffed her. You never know which way the victim, the spouse, which way they're going to go if something happens. That's why I cuffed Cheryl. And she said, he can't kill me no more. He can't kill me no more.
I just remember talking to God and letting him know whatever happened, I was okay with. And I just waited for a bullet to go through my head. And then I heard some bangs. Then Charlie lying on the ground with my son underneath him.
The little boy was shaking. He was absolutely petrified.
We're gonna get you, okay? We're gonna get you to a safe place.
I said, little Charlie, this is Gary. You're gonna be okay. Your mom's fine.
We had the EMTs out there within seconds of Charlie going down, but he was dead instantly.
The sniper's bullet severed Leaf's brainstem, instantly killing him and eliminating any possibility of injuring Cheryl. Her nightmare is finally over.
Charlie was so much of a monster to me, I didn't think just a bullet could kill him.
We didn't take Leaf's life. He took his own.
We would not have done this if we had not believed with all of our hearts that this was the only way we were going to save him.
The takedown of Charles Leaf still resonates with Cheryl Hart and the agents who saved her and little Charlie.
Months after the incident, I got a Christmas card from Cheryl. It was a beautiful letter. It was a thank you letter, thanking me for being patient and speaking to Charlie, and she thanked me for my calm, supportive voice during the ordeal. It meant a great deal to me, and I treasure it to this day.
I think the FBI really tried to have all 3 of us survive, but it wasn't their choice. Charlie made that choice.
The incident not only changes Cheryl's life, it changes the way the FBI handles future hostage negotiations.
This was probably the first incident in FBI history where a negotiator not only recommended, but was utilized to facilitate this tactical resolution.
The hostage rescue team went back and said, hey, this is the way we are supposed to work with the negotiators. This is how we want to run critical incidents in the FBI.
Today, FBI agents are trained to use the negotiator as a tactical tool if deadly force is the only way out of a hostage situation. When he helped rescue Cheryl and little Charlie, Gary Nesner helped redefine FBI hostage negotiation.
Later, I drove home and my wife had seen what happened on the news, and she stood in the front porch and in her very fun way said, welcome home, Batman. Now take out the garbage.